Now, page 4, the lack of constitutional backbone in the Republican-controlled U.S. Senate. Just when it looked like Senator Lindsey Graham was growing a pro-rule of law spine, just when it looked like Mitch McConnell might put a halt to this House Democrat hyper-constitutional assault on the Article II branch of government, just when it looked like the U.S. Senate was going to be the adult in the room during this impeachment farce, constitutional disappointment. McConnell, through Lindsey Graham, is sending a very weak signal to the Democrats in the Senate. They apparently will not vigorously defend this president, the office of the presidency, nor the founding document. For an impeachment trial in the Senate, Graham says they will not subpoena Adam Schiff. Nope, they're not going to do it, even though Schiff is a material witness in this impeachment process. Even though Team Schiff met with the so-called whistleblower while he was crafting the report that ignited impeachment, even though Schiff has lied repeatedly to the American people, Graham says they will not call him as a witness. And since the Republican leadership in the Senate won't go after Schiff, who else might they not call as witnesses? How about the whistleblower himself and or Eric Ciaramella? How about it, Lindsey? Doesn't Donald Trump have the right through counsel to confront his accusers? And what about Hunter Biden and his father, Harry Joe Biden? Yes, the Joe Biden, your former colleague. He, too, is a material witness, right? Biden is the centerpiece for impeachment. So if the Senate refuses to subpoena Adam Schiff, then it's unlikely these other witnesses would be called, which is a shame. It's a due process travesty, and it's further proof that the Republican leadership in the Senate has no constitutional backbone. And for partisan sharks like Chuck Schumer, that is political blood in the water.
The Republican leader is simply wrong to suggest that the House process has been anything but deliberate, even-handed, and serious.
Stop tape. Let's work backwards, shall we? The House process. We have Jerry Nadler right now bringing on so-called witnesses that have zero evidence to proffer before his committee. They don't have any evidence. They're not fact witnesses, as they like to say. All they're doing is giving opinion. They're attorneys to make it worse. They're attorneys giving their opinion. They're giving the summaries of the cases, but who cares? Who cares what these people think? And why are we going through the process of allowing members of Congress to question them? They're just giving their lawyerly opinion. Who cares? It has nothing to do whatsoever with the facts or the lack thereof of this case. And prior to that, we had Nadler writing a report that looked more like a term paper, 50 pages of what impeachment is all about and their interpretation of why the framers of the Constitution put impeachment in the founding document, and their interpretation of what James Madison said and George Mason and the other framers of the Constitution, all cherry-picking information for the American people to read or not read. Large majority will not read that, but of course the mainstream media will cherry-pick from their cherry-picked information and publish reports like they did, saying, oh, well, here's the case for impeachment, when there's nothing there. And then you back up further, you have Adam Schiff in the public side of his impeachment inquisition, calling witnesses that he thought could only bolster the case for impeachment, and not allowing the Republicans to call witnesses like Hunter Biden, who is a material witness in this case. And the whistleblower, he is a material witness in this case. He's the starting point for impeachment, yet Adam Schiff squashed these requests from the Republicans for due process and equal protection under the law. What happened? We supposedly have in our justice system this woman out there with scales, right? Equal justice, equal protection under the law. What's going on in the House of Representatives and potentially what will be going on in the United States Senate is nothing close to equal protection under the law. The president's being railroaded by a set of partisan rules that was rushed through on a party line vote in the House of Representatives. These rules resemble nothing of the rules that were passed in 1998 under the impeachment process of Bill Clinton. Those rules in 1998 were fair and they were balanced. They allowed equity, if you will. They allowed the White House to participate. In this case, Jerry Nadler comes out and he says, for the record, we invited the White House to participate. No, you didn't. You shackled the White House. You threatened the White House. You said to the White House, if you don't produce these documents and you don't produce these people, if you don't violate the separation of powers, then we're not going to allow you to participate. And so the White House decided not to violate the United States Constitution, not violate the separation of powers. They decided not to play Jerry Nadler's game, and so they're not participating directly in this process because it's rigged. It's completely rigged against the White House. And of course, the predicate to the open testimony in the Schiff portion of the impeachment process was behind closed doors. And we don't know. We don't have transcripts for everything. We didn't have representatives in that process, representatives in the mainstream media and other members of the electronic media and otherwise. We didn't have anybody in there as our eyes and our ears. It was done under this veil of secrecy, under a complete and total cloak of partisan secrecy. So this is what the impeachment looks like in 2019. And we step back even a couple of steps further, and we go to Nancy Pelosi, who green-lighted impeachment even though she promised that she would not foist impeachment on the American people if it was going to be a partisan venture. She said it must be bipartisan. Does this look like it's bipartisan to you? Does Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them look like they're going down a bipartisan path to you? Doesn't resemble anything in a bipartisan nature whatsoever. So this is impeachment 2019. It's a complete and total railroad process led by engineers that are nothing more than con artists. And they're trying to con X amount of the American people into believing that Donald Trump did something wrong when he did not. So this guy Schumer, you know what he's going to do? He's going to run political circles around the Republican leadership in the United States Senate, like he always does. Wouldn't it be nice if Senate Republicans stood up to this guy, stood up for the president, stood up for due process, and in the process, stood up for the United States Constitution?
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.